I guess I'd always liked comedy as a kid, and as far as doing it, I don't know. It just kind of I don't know. I just I I just kind of I did an open mic, and I guess a few times over the years I had the idea and I chickened out, and that sort of kind of slowly kind of stuck in my craw, so it just became something that I wanted to do at least once. I hadn't at the time I wasn't really thinking about doing it as a career. It was just kind of as a lark. I did it when I was 23 for the first time, and then I did it again, and it just kind of kept going. Well, it wasn't. Yeah, it certainly wasn't like a big scene, but there were like five or six clubs, and then a bunch of one-nighters and some colleges. So it was actually a pretty good place to start out. You could sort of there's so many things within driving distance. You could kind of like work the road without actually having to skip town. And a lot of the clubs, they have pretty good open mics where it's you get a club on like a Wednesday, and the open mic might have 30, 40 people in the crowd, whereas in say New York or Los Angeles, if you're just starting out, it's pretty tough to get quality stage time where there's going to be that many people in the crowd. Because I know here in LA and in New York, pretty often the mics are just other comics or maybe like a couple people. So I think I think it might be harder to start out here than it would be in the Midwest. Because
Mhm.
I was kind of doing, and then if you start doing weekends, it also, the other thing is there aren't nearly as many people trying to do stand up, so it's pretty easy to start, cracking the scene as far as getting work and stuff. Okay, well, I mean, I had been there. I'd visited and done some shows there maybe 4 times, but even that doesn't really prepare you for living there. Because I had grown up in I moved out there when I was 28, so I pretty much grew up and lived in the same few neighborhoods my whole life. So that was it was a big adjustment. A lot of the things that New York that seem novel for a few days can be a little maddening when you're doing it year round. The hustle and the bustle and stuff, and then just trying to get work and the higher cost of living and all that. And it took me a good year to get adjusted to that, and it took me about maybe like 4 years to find steady work and get flush so that I could, I mean, I was doing stand-up the whole time, but it was pretty crazy there for a while, I guess. It's fun. It's a lot I mean, it's a lot different than stand-up in that, say like stand-up, you can kind of, excuse me, kind of work on your own schedule. Here you have to write every day. Where with stand-up, even if I might write a lot of jokes over the course of months or a year, but there are a lot of times I wouldn't write anything for like a week or so. I'd just be busy, or I just kind of fart around. And here you have to come in every day and kind of crank it out. So that's how it's like mostly different, I guess. But that's why it's fun. It's a pretty good challenge. I I guess yeah. Like I haven't been. It's funny. I got this half hour on Comedy Central, and then I've been doing the album. So I've actually been going back and mostly working on old stuff. So I haven't been writing that much. It's kind of strange. It's actually the longest I've gone without writing a lot of new stuff. So I've got some ideas worked out, but I haven't really been going on stage and working on them much. So, but it does. Yeah, it does. I mean, it does help your discipline though, since you learn how even when you don't really you might not have any great ideas, but you can kind of force yourself to sit down and write some stuff.